Hey everyone, I'm Clayton Morris. Welcome into the show. This is the Investing in Real Estate show, and I'm here with my man Jerry Norton. He is from Flipping Mastery. Now, you know me as the buy and hold guy. Buy properties, hold them. Jerry is the flipping guy. So he's my go-to guy when you want to learn how to fix and flip properties. And we've been putting together this video series because I've had so many people write to me over the years wanting to know, if I find a deal, what do I do with it? How do I do it? How do I fix a property? How do I flip it? How do I get started in real estate investing? So that's why we brought Jerry in, because he is really the brains behind figuring out what to do with these properties once you find them. But we need to find them first, right? We need to go out there and find them. So our promise in the previous videos was we are going to talk about how to find these fix and flip properties now. So Jerry, how do we go out and start finding these properties, these deals? Do we start in our own backyard?
Yeah, great question. Well, you can certainly do deals in your own backyard. There are opportunities everywhere. You can do it remotely in today's day and age with technology, and if you have the right tools and software, you can actually find deals not in your backyard, in another state or another market. You can do that as well. But the important thing to understand is there is something that's called a motivated seller, right? Motivated seller. And this is someone that really desperately needs to sell their property. Either the property is distressed or they're in some kind of financial distress. And that's what we're looking for. And they're in every market. They're in your backyard. They're your people that your kids go to school with. They're all around you are these motivated sellers. What's interesting is motivated sellers make up about 5% of the market of transactions.
Really? 5%?
Yeah, that's what studies show, about 5%. So the other 95% are people that want full market value. They want to sell, but they don't need to sell, right? There's not a desperation going on. So that 5% is what we're looking for. So our job isn't to create motivation, it's to find already motivated sellers that need to sell their property quickly. Now, as a flipper, what you want to do is you want to come in and you want to solve a couple problems. You want to be able to pay cash for their property, which we'll talk about. Even if you're not going to put your cash in it, you pay cash for the property. You're going to close quickly because there's that urgency, right? And you're going to buy it as is. So when you're talking to this motivated seller and you say, look, I can pay cash, there's no mortgage contingency, I don't have to get bank approval, we can close quickly, 10 days, 20 days, even 5 days if you can, whatever that urgency is. And you don't have to do anything, Mr. Seller. You don't have to fix anything up. I'll take everything exactly how it is. And that solves that real issue that motivated seller has.
Which is really fantastic, because you're pulling that sort of thorn out of their side for them. They don't know where else to turn. And you might be saying, you're watching this right now, no one would want to sell their house for 30, 40 cents on the dollar. It happens every day, because you can't put everyone in one box, right? They're all forms of different motivation. I've talked about the first flip I ever did was an inherited property. The son and daughter-in-law inherited a property from their mom who passed away in Florida. They lived in Arizona. The house was a total mess, but they couldn't list it for retail. They didn't have the money to fix it up. I lived next door. I made them a great offer. They took it because they knew it was a great deal. Plus, they were motivated. They were motivated to sell it.
Well, here's the thing to understand. A motivated seller will trade equity for peace of mind. They will gladly give up equity, meaning there's money to be made for someone that wants to do it, just to be rid of it, to have that peace of mind of no longer having that burden in their lives that property's causing them.
So Jerry has a great program, which we'll talk about now, and then we're going to dive more deeply here into finding some of these properties. If you go in the description below, there's a link to Jerry's program, and which is amazing. So if you find one of these deals, you're like, oh my God, what am I going to do with it now? Jerry will actually pay you $10,000. So you just click on the link and sign up. And if you've got a great deal, bring it to Jerry, and because you need deals.
Yeah, I fix and flip houses all across the country. I've got a nationwide program, and I'm looking for more deals. So anyone you listening right now can become a finder. Go on that link, and then there's a training that you can watch. It shows you how to get started. But you go out and you find these deals, bring them to me, and I'll pay you $10,000.
That's great. So now let's talk more about how to find these properties. So you're looking for motivation, but where do you start? Do you go on Craigslist? Where do you start looking for deals?
So this is an area that I've dedicated a lot of my career to learning and mastering and getting good at, is how do we find these deals? Where do we find these motivated sellers? And we break it down into kind of two different ways of finding these motivated sellers. We have what we call on-market and off-market. Now, on-market's easy.
On-market is listed with a realtor.
Listed with a real estate agent. Yeah, that's all that means. And so some people, they'll have this distressed property and they'll actually go get an agent to help them sell it. Banks do that, so you got REOs and short sales, and private sellers will do it too sometimes. So you can actually find some of these deals on the MLS, on market. It is more competitive because everybody and their brother knows about it because it's on market.
Right.
So there's some strategies we can talk about on how to really do well with on market. But really where you get a lot of meat on the bone type of deals is with off market. And the challenge with off market is they don't know you exist, right? Because you have to somehow find them. They're not raising their hand like on market. So, but there's a lot of these opportunities with pre-foreclosure, probate, what we call absentee owners. These are people that own a property but they don't live there anymore, or out-of-state owners, burned out landlords. There's a whole list of dozens of motivated seller kind of lead types, and that's what we kind of want to target. We want to kind of target a group of people that would be a good candidate or most likely to be motivated to sell their house.
So I would say,
start there.
And I would say even starting in your own backyard, because before you jump to the internet to think, okay, I live in this town in Florida, and I'm not going to do it here, I'm going to try to do it in Texas. Hold on there, Billy. Let's just wait. Try in your own backyard. And I would even suggest, if you are like me, and I was like a dog with a bone when I wanted to change my life and become a real estate investor, I was motivated, and I went out there and took action. I just got in the car, and I started driving around my neighborhood. And if it's winter time, great. If it's summertime, great. Why? Because you might find a house where the grass is way too high, and there's mail piled up on the doorway. That's an indicator that house, there may be some distress behind that house.
Neglected,
right?
yeah.
Neglected house. There may be snow that's not shoveled on walkways. It snowed 3 days ago. Why is that house still not shoveled? A clear indicator of neglect. When you find a deal like that in your neighborhood, and if you're just starting out, you don't have a lot of money, how can we maybe take action and try to find out who owns that house and make a deal?
Yeah, so what you're referring to is called driving for dollars, and it's how I got started. I didn't have anything when I got started, and I just drove neighborhoods and I would look up owners on houses that looked distressed, and that's how I started. And I got so good at it, I was doing them every single month just by driving around.
Right.
I mean, it's just a great way to start. I've also been over the years developing software that actually helps find these deals. So when you go to that link and you watch that training, you'll learn how you can get some of that software. But yeah, one of the things that we want to do that's challenging when
Wait a minute, so you have software that'll actually do it for you?
Yeah.
Come on. That's great. I mean, I was driving around trying to track these people down, knocking on neighbors' doors, and now you have a software that lets people do that. That's great.
Yeah, both on market and off market, where you can actually get the list of types of people that would probably be motivated, high equity or whatever it might be, pre-foreclosure, all these different situations where someone is likely to have that motivation to sell, and then how to contact them. So it's really great. But to answer your question, we have to look up, you have to get in front of the owner, right? It's one thing to see this house and you're like, wow, look at this house. It looks like no one's been taking care of it. It looks vacant. Now I got to talk to that owner. And there's services that are called skip tracing, where you can actually look up who owns that property. And these are things that you can learn how to do to get really good at finding these motivated sellers, talking to them, and offering to solve their problem.
Right. So finding the deal is one thing. You may notice that this house needs a lot of work. This is a neglected house. It's a prime property for you. Maybe to sell it to Jerry, make $10,000 on it. Yeah. I mean, we're going to drive around today, and I'm going to show you a couple of neglected houses. You're going to get to see exactly some of these properties that are a problem. So to be clear, Jerry has software. We'll have a link below. It's totally free. You can sign up, and it will actually help you find deals, right?
Yeah, it's really cool. What it does is for any zip code in the US, it'll give you a list of all of the underpriced homes for sale in that market. It's really cool. So what it does is it takes the average of what homes are selling for in that area, and then it says, okay, well, if this is what the average price per square foot of homes is selling for, what's for sale right now that's below that? So that would give us an indication that might be somebody that's motivated because they're pricing their house below market value.
Great.
And then it saves a lot of time. You can click on that. It gives you the list. It tells you how far below market they are. And it's a great place to start finding deals.
Perfect. So that's how you find the deals. We're going to go the free software. You can click on it below here and check that out, and totally free. And you can start finding deals in your backyard. You can go driving for dollars and find them yourself. And then in the next videos, we're going to start showing you what to do with that contract. Now you get a property under contract. You talk to a motivated seller. What are you going to do with that contract? Either you're going to sell it to someone like Jerry, or you're going to hold on to it yourself and start fixing that house up. And Jerry's going to walk you through step by step how to do that. So check out the links below and bring a deal to Jerry, or check out the free software and join us in the next video. We'll see you, everyone.